Hello, my name is Edwin Rutsch, and I'm the director of the Empathy Center located here in beautiful Santa Barbara, California. The center's mission is to build the empathy movement and to raise the level of empathy in society through education and community building initiatives.
And my name is Anita Nowak. I teach at McGill University, and I'm the author of Purposeful Empathy, a book that invites readers to turn up the volume of empathy in their lives.
And at the beginning of 2024, Anita and I co-hosted the Empathy Summit, brought to you by the Empathy Center, and more than 40 authors of books about empathy participated.
They shared what their book was about, why they were motivated to write it, and what they hope readers will take away. Thank you so much for watching, and we hope you'll buy their book.
So our next speaker is Felicia Darling, and there we are. Hi. And Felicia is a Fulbright scholar who advocates for inclusion and belonging and equity, mindfulness, and mental health. And she is the author of Empathy Unchained, Heal Your Trauma, Uplift the World. And we're getting a little bit of video artifact on your screen. I don't know if you're seeing that.
Felicia,
I'm seeing that.
Okay. Would you turn off your video or stop video? Down at the bottom.
Wrong. Yeah, I teach all the time, 20 hours a week, 30 hours a week. So this is very unexpected.
If you just stop your
video. This is a Zoom artifact from the latest update.
Oh, there you go.
There you go. Now turn it back on.
What?
There we go. Yeah, excellent.
Wow, I learned something new about Zoom.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. Let me fix that. There you go. Okay, great. Thanks so much. All right. Well, I am going to tell you, can everyone hear me, see me okay? Okay. I'm going to tell you two stories, and I'm going to talk a little bit about a game from my book, Empathy Unchained, Heal Your Trauma, Uplift the World. Story number one. So for decades, I had fits of anxiety, rage, and crying when I was driving in a new place when I was lost. During these fits, of course, I'm not taking care of my passenger daughter. I'm not being empathetic to other drivers. I thought it was because I had 9 car accidents. However, in 2019, I learned the truth. I got lost heading to my 3rd trauma healing therapy, and I had this driving panic attack, of course. I got there, I was sweaty, nervous, rapid, shallow breathing, impaired concentration. So we began therapy about it. And during therapy, I recalled 2 events from like 40 years ago that I had forgotten, right? That I'd never connected to my driving. When I was 17 and 19, I escaped a sexual assault involving a gun, and then 19, a sexual assault involving a knife, right? So I'd always framed those 2 events as, hey, no big deal, I got away. And like 10 years, those were quickly eclipsed by 10 years of struggle, housing, homelessness, poverty. But what I had not remembered about those 2 events, it was that preceding those 2 events, I had gotten lost. The anxiety fits in my car weren't related to cars at all. They were triggers from getting lost, as I did before those 2 forgotten traumatic events 40 years ago. When we're triggered, we cannot be present in the moment for others. We cannot be empathetic because we're consumed with managing all the fallout from the trigger. Instead, we engage in reactive thoughts and behaviors that include hating, blaming, criticizing, pretending it's not happening, freezing, fixating, panicking, withdrawing, self-medicating. This one therapy session resolved trauma from 2 attempted armed sexual assaults and actually cured my diagnosed fibromyalgia. Healing this wound freed up emotional and physical bandwidth to pursue my work in the world, because afterwards I spent a lot less time freaking out while driving and a lot less time managing the constellation of symptoms related to fibromyalgia, pain, depression, brain fog, sleep disorder. I had more time to be present and empathetic to those around me and to do my work in the world, to follow my true north. So in a study of almost, Simon probably knows this, in a study of almost 70,000 adults across 24 countries and 6 continents, over 70% of respondents reported experiencing trauma. 70% of almost 8 billion people in the world today is about 6 billion people walking around hurt from trauma. And there's probably more, since trauma is underreported. Basically, if you're breathing, you've been hurt. It can look like being picked on for being skinny when you were 10 or being betrayed by your first lover. It can be from a high school teacher accusing you of lying when you wrote a paper about witnessing your friend's suicide. It can be from navigating a workplace that discriminates against people who look like you and you have no ally. It can come from the chronic stress of poverty or surviving a life-threatening illness without adequate emotional support. It can be from emotional or physical neglect or abuse as a child. And sadly, of course, those who experience developmental trauma in childhood are more likely to have experienced traumatic events as an adult. My book offers real solutions, right? Empathy Unchained, Heal Your Trauma, Uplift the World, and also my DEIA conversation deck lies at the intersection of self-help and social justice. It's not the book is not a memoir because I'm an ethnographer, right? I wrote the book to help people be more empathetic and present by offering practical ideas to heal their past hurts. Documenting my own and others' journeys to heal trauma adds a human face to the science behind books like Waking the Tiger, Healing Trauma, The Body Keeps Score, and Fred Luskin's Forgive for Good. If we untether ourselves from past hurts, we free up bandwidth to be more present, more empathetic to people around us, to follow our true north, and to do our work in the world as everyday empathy heroes, as I mentioned in my book. Okay, story 2. Story 2 is about a tool I learned in psychotherapy. I was doing EMDR, eye movement desensitization, reprocessing therapy, and somatic experiencing. I call this tool, Buckle Up, We're Going for a Ride. Buckle Up is a powerful cognitive reframing activity where we shift from constantly fighting against our anxiety to leaning in and embracing it. I use a modified version of this that I developed to support my students with math anxiety in my classes at the Santa Rosa Junior College and UC Berkeley. I noticed someone was from Berkeley here. Marlene, a first-year community college student, and we worked together for 3 months to help her develop a growth mindset about her ability in math. She was getting better grades and had a much more positive academic mindset in algebra, but she still struggled on tests. During her second math course with me, she said, I know the material, I studied hard, but I'm terrified that when I get to the test, I will not do well, and she began to cry. Of course, I asked her, because it happens a lot with first entry students at community college. I asked her, I said, do you have a traumatic experience in the past with taking math tests? And she's crying, yes. So I explained Buckle Up to her. I said, put your anxiety in the passenger seat. Give it a juice box, a reassuring pat on the shoulder, and tell it it's okay. But explain to it that you are driving the car. You are the one taking the test. Your math anxiety can sit there comfortably, safely in the passenger seat, but you are taking the test. You are driving the car. Later, she told me it works. I'm going to share with you just a little picture from my book, I hope. Yeah, I'm going to do it as quick as I possibly can. Share, share, share. Here we go. Got it. Okay, so here's a picture from my book because this activity works so well for me that I worked my therapist to not just buckle up my anxiety, but to buckle up my rage. Guess which one's the rage? My fear and other aspects of my personality that I kind of been pulling away from. Instead of just pull them in, I had to get a damn minivan. But here's all these things that we frequently run away from that in this case, I pulled in towards me. And that's just one strategy of like 100 in the book, Empathy Unchained. Okay, for the 2 stories in 1 game. This is a game that I call Everyday Empathy Hero Game, and we can all play. It's in the book. Okay, so you're gonna name an adjective, a small imperfection you accept and love about yourself. Could be too fast, hammer-toed, big-nosed, hairy, reluctant, loud. This is clearly me. But you can pick something about you. Maybe, I don't know, pick a small imperfection, an adjective. Okay, that's the first word of your empathy hero name. And keep in mind that empathy heroes are people who do big things and small things to make the world better. Things like create an empathy center, or put on empathy summits, or write empathy books, or even like a whole bunch of small things. Their whole life is a whole bunch of small things, like letting the person in line go first because they look like they need it that day. Okay, So in empathy, everyday empathy heroes are interviewed in my book, and they follow their true north, right, to do their work in the world. Okay, so an adjective, a small imperfection. Secondly, a quality which you'd like to see more in the world. Peace, love, justice, joy, equity, inclusion, empathy, creativity. And the third part of your name is a hero archetype. An agent, avenger, hero, expert, bodhisattva, leader, adventurer. And so go ahead, if you want to, go ahead and write your empathy, today's everyday empathy hero name in chat if you'd like. Mine came up with today, I hate to say it, but it's Grumpy Inclusion Rebel. That's my name today. I also came up with Grumpy Peace Warrior. I was like, yeah, either way, but I noticed Grumpy came up a bit. Anyway, go ahead and add that to chat. And I'd love to see what people come up with for their empathy hero name. I don't see any. Maybe people can't write in there. Oh, here we go. Failure expert adventurer. Wow, that's a good one. Thank you. Well, we got one in there. Come on, I think I have time to wait for someone else to come up with a small imperfection. Maybe that's the hard part. Impatient compassion agent, hair on chin, serenity, bodhisattva. Thank you, Ruth. Love that one. Yeah, so this is just a way to kind of soften who we are. Imperfect people change the world all the time. We're imperfect, but we still want things. Tired love adventurer, weird joy adventurer leader. I love that. Thank you so much for playing along with the game. Judgy kind dragon. Oh, I like that. Here's my books there. My book's coming out February 27th. That's a QRC code for my website. Unsure Patient Dalai Lama, Stardust Distributor. Oh, I like that. Oh, nice cover. Thank you. That's not one. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing and give it back to Edwin and Anita. Here we go.
Okay, thank you so much, Felicia.